Football Manager 2024 is just around the corner and the excitement is growing with new features being announced slowly. But for me, it's the small things that matter. The playability and the realism are two of the most important things. So, in this video, I'm going to look at 3 minor features or minor changes that can be made to make this the best Football Manager game ever. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel and a video looking at 3 small changes to be made to Football Manager 24 that are more important to me than the headline features and that will improve the realism and try and get rid of that frustration that I get every single year. Before we get going in this video, please do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to know when future videos are going to be released, and comment below, let me know what you would like to see changed in the new Football Manager game. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I'd like to see in FM24 is manager backstory, so an improvement to the manager timeline. At the minute, we pick our manager's name, what they're wearing, where they were born, their favourite team, and their level of previous football playing experience. So whether they were a Sunday League player, an international player, just a local player, this, that and the other. Then the game generates how many international caps they got and stuff like that. And that's it. That's it really, and then the manager timeline starts the day you start your new career as a football manager. But how good would it be if you could give your manager a backstory, a playing history? At the minute, all we've got, we can write it down on a bit of paper and in our heads we can give the manager a backstory. But how good would it be if we could put down what clubs they played for, how long they were at each club even, what position they played? That could affect your management. If you were a world-class central defender, your management skills at defending might be better, but your attacking ones would be really poor. You know? Stuff like that, it improves the realism. And it will also it will affect, rivalries within the game. If you were a Liverpool legend and played there for 15 years, the Everton fans are not going to want you as manager. The same as like if you were at Arsenal for so many years, Tottenham ain't going to want you. Stuff like that. It will improve the realism, it will affect rivalries. It will affect your in-game management skills if you can put your position and stuff. And maybe it will also, like, if you had points for loyalty and stuff like that. Like, if you were at one club for 15, 20 years, you're going to be a very loyal person. So it will change things. Maybe it can improve the way other players look at you as well. If you're a club legend going in to take over, maybe the players and the fans are going to be more receptive to you, more accepting of you straight away. It will just improve the realism. It wouldn't be a massive change. It would be something that should really already be a part of the game. We can put down which teams our player played for, how long they were at each club, what position they played. Simple as that. It affects in-game rivalries. Maybe it will it will increase the pressure on a manager if they're going back to a previous club they played for and stuff like that. But that's the first change, manager backstory. The next thing I'd like to see changed is player knowledge and retaining player knowledge when you change which team you manage. So for example, you can be at one team for 5 years, you leave that team, move somewhere else, and all of a sudden, the knowledge you've got of the players at your previous club has gone. You might keep their attributes and stuff like that. Like you might still be able to see their attributes, but everything else is gone. Like fair enough, you might not know their current form and stuff in 6 months' time, but I think that it would be good if you could retain a bit of player knowledge. Like, for example, up on the screen now, Harry Pitcher. I managed him at Wroxham for 4, maybe 5 years. He was there from the day I started at the club and managed him the entire time. If you see, we have a very close relationship. He has a lot of respect for me as a manager. We have a close relationship. So, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that if I left the club and went and managed somewhere else, I might still have him on social media. I might talk to him on the phone. So, I would still know quite a bit about the player. But, if we look at his player profile, I now no longer know what roles he's good at. I can see what positions he plays in, but I don't know how he plays. I don't know what roles he's good at. I need to scout him in order to figure out his roles. But I've just managed him for like 4 or 5 years. I should know that stuff automatically. Yeah, I've kept his attributes. I can see what his attributes are. But other than that, I haven't got any more information of him. I just managed him for 4 or 5 years. I should know these things automatically. So I think that the change in the game should be that if you've managed a club for, say, 2, maybe 3 years, even if it's longer than a year. So if you've been at a club for a set amount of time, Sports Interactive can pick how long that is. But if you've been at a club for a certain amount of time and you've managed a player for a certain amount of time, your knowledge of that player should be retained. Even if it's retained for a year. So for the first year after leaving the club, after not managing that player, you retain full knowledge of that player. So you know exactly their player roles, their suitability, their attributes, their weaknesses, their strengths and stuff like that. And the form that they had when they played for you. You should be able to retain that knowledge because you know it. I mean, in real life, if a manager leaves a club, they don't automatically forget how good their right back was that they've managed for the last 4 or 5 years. Doesn't happen. So I think in the game that needs to be improved. So the second thing I'd like to see improved is retaining player knowledge. The third and final thing, and perhaps the most important thing to me, is players understanding their squad status. How many times have you had a player come to you and say they're not happy with their playing time, they want to leave, they want to get a loan move, you must play them, they want to transfer, stuff like that. Like, for example, this player here. I've just taken over at a club. This player comes straight to me within a couple of days of me taking over and says that I must give him the playing time he expects. Then I go and look at his playing time expectations and he's a fringe player. So for me, a fringe player doesn't need to play. So it needs to increase the realism because you can't build a squad. In Football Manager 23, you couldn't build a squad. In Football Manager 22, you couldn't build a squad. In Football Manager 21, you couldn't build a squad. So in FM24, for squad building purposes, you need to have players understanding their squad status more. Because every single November, you know that the transfer window is going to be opening in January, but some countries, their transfer windows open in sort of December, or they haven't closed yet or whatever. So every November, sort of like middle of November, end of November time, you get all of your fringe players that are unhappy, some squad players that are unhappy. They come to you and they're like, right, I need to play more. Or I need to... So you've got to promise them that they'll play more, which means you're going to be dropping someone who may be playing really well in order to fit them into the squad. Or you've got to get rid of them. You've got to let them go out on loan, which means if you get injuries and you need that player, it's going to affect you. It's going to leave you short. Or you sell them and then you have to replace them with another fringe player or another squad status player. And you're constantly then changing the dynamics in the squad and the atmosphere in the squad because you're bringing new players in. So, for me, players need to understand their squad status. If you are a star player or an important player, then you're the first name on the team sheet or one of the first names on the team sheet. If you're a regular starter, then that should mean that you play 80% of games, I reckon. Regular starter, 80% of games is regular. Maybe even 70% of games, something like that. Then if you are a squad player, it means if you're in the squad, you're happy. So if you're included as a substitute, you're part of that squad. There's nothing about a squad player that says you're going to get on the pitch. You're a squad player, you're in the squad. So if you're in the matchday squad, if you're a sub, that should mean that they're happy with their playing time. If you're a fringe player, you're on the fringes. So if you are in the matchday squad, I don't know, 60% of the time, you play 10% of the time, you're a fringe player. That's it. You're on the fringes of the team. Prove that you're good enough to get into the squad instead of moaning about it. And then if you're a breakthrough prospect or a youth prospect or whatever it is, then you play for your under 21s or your under 23s or whatever, and then occasionally you'll be included in the matchday squad. If you're a super sub, then you're going to expect to get some time off of the bench. So maybe 50% of the games you're brought on off the bench. And then if you're surplus to requirements, then that does exactly what it says in the tin. You're not needed. But if you've got a player that's surplus to requirements, then you're not going to keep them anyway. But for me, it's the fringe players and the squad players that they need to understand their squad status better. Because if they're in the matchday squad, they shouldn't be complaining about wanting to start games. They're in the matchday squad. They are a squad player. If you're a fringe player and you're on the fringes, be happy with being on the fringes rather than demanding playing time. Because what it does, it unsettles the dynamics, it unsettles the club atmosphere. And I've even had it where a fringe player as kicked off about their playing time, despite the fact that they're in the matchday squad every single time. So for me, they're being played as a squad player, but they're a fringe player. They kick off about that time. I refuse to let them leave, and then 3 of my first team regulars complain about their playing time and side with that player, and it causes a massive rift in the dressing room. So for me, the most important thing, and the third thing I'd like to see changed, is improvements to player knowledge of their squad status. So players understanding squad status is the most important thing for me. And there it is. There are 3 small changes that I believe are more important than the headline features. They will improve playability, they will improve realism, and hopefully improve enjoyment of the game. For me, those sort of small changes would make the game so much better, and possibly even the greatest Football Manager game ever. If you enjoyed this video, do hit the like button, do all the good stuff that I mentioned before. Comment below and let me know what changes you would like to be seen. How important do you think the things are that I've mentioned in this video? Also, if you are yet to order FM24 and you would like to pre-order it, there is a link in the description below, and you can support the channel by pre-ordering from Fanatical. It's £36 something or another. So it's not quite as cheap as some content creators out there because they've got extra discount codes and stuff. I can't get them yet. I'm a brand new affiliate. So if you would like to support the channel, I only get a very, very small amount of what you pay for the game. But like I said, it would support the channel and help us out a lot. And I would be very, very grateful to whoever uses my affiliate link down in the description below. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you all again soon. Until then, bye-bye for now.